Hallo Leute, wie geht's? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, English, please. Yeah, welcome everybody to again to this set of interviews, nice talks, and fun that we are gonna be having today and tomorrow here at Star West 2024. We're reporting from Anaheim, California, and I am super happy to have with me today one of the keynote speakers, Sophie Küster.
Yes.
I know that I have
Hi,
to be
everyone.
careful. Hello, welcome, Sophie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Super happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and especially mein Deutsche zu üben. Yeah, I still need more practice and need to make it better. I'm super excited anytime that I meet anyone that can bounce some words with me and don't tell me how bad it is. But
No, it's actually really good.
No.
It's
See,
better than
the
my
people
Spanish.
can. I heard her Spanish is awesome. Nah, I'm kidding. Do you know Spanish?
A bit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We-
My nieces are bilingual. They live in Spain. And
Ah.
when they were really little, when they learned new words, I learned them too. So for a time, I was really, really good at colors and animals and shapes, but nothing else.
We're gonna close up the show in Spanish then. Let's see. Oder auf Deutsch. Wie geht's? Vielleicht. Ich weiß es nicht. Okay, so Sophie, first of all, again, congratulations. Super excited about your keynote. We'll talk about it in a moment. But before we dive in to testing QA conference topics, for the audience, the ones that do not know you, would you mind sharing who is Sophie? What do you do? Why you are here?
Okay, who is Sophie? Well, me. um, I am from Bonn in Germany. I don't know if you know where Bonn is. It's close to Cologne. You may have heard of Cologne. It's where the carnival happens. Not only there, but Cologne is
There are
pretty
more things,
pretty
yeah.
famous for that. I call myself a test automation engineer most of the time, but I'm currently the test lead on my project, so I do a lot of telling people what to do. I sometimes speak at conferences, and I'm here. I'm super excited to be here to give a keynote on the topic of talking about mental health in the workplace. And that will be tomorrow evening. Closing keynote, and I'm super excited and super nervous.
Yeah, I wonder, have you given a keynote before?
I have, but at much smaller conferences.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So how many have you had before, keynotes?
Keynotes. It's 3. I was supposed to have a big one last year, but in the end I couldn't because I got sick and
Oh,
I couldn't make it. But
exactly before a keynote. That's
yeah, that was
yeah, must have
spectacular
been sad.
timing.
Yeah. Well, but you are here. You are
Yes.
ready for your keynote.
I am.
And you are a test automator, test lead, presenter, keynote speaker. Do you produce any other blogs, content, or anything to the people?
Well, I used to be super active on Twitter back when it was still Twitter.
It's still
and
cool and
when that was where the cool people were. And now it's a housecape, so I'm not very active there anymore. And well, I'm on all the usual social media, but I haven't started my blog that I have been planning to do for ages. But I will at some point.
Okay, stay tuned because you will be able to follow up with Sophie. I have a feeling that she will be producing lots of cool things, cool content and teachings for the world, similar to what you are about to present. Yeah, diving into your keynote. What is the title of your keynote?
It's called You Don't Talk About That at Work.
Oh, snap.
Because it's exactly about that, about the things you usually don't talk about at work, which is, in this case, mental health, or more specifically, the lack thereof, mental illness. And, well, I will share some of my experiences, how that topic affected my life and about how I started speaking about that at work and what I learned from that.
Cool. I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much because the keynote's going to happen tomorrow. Everybody, you can log into the platform. They are freely streamed. You'll be able to watch, I'm sure, Sophie's amazing performance in the stage and all the teachings. But Sophie, I get curious because this is a particular topic for a conference, not the usual. You're not talking automation. You're not talking technicalities. What brought your interest into this topic, and how did you started to get this expertise or personal experience? I'm guessing.
Yes,
or
yes, it's all personal experience. I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychologist. It's just I talk about the things that I personally experienced, that I have lived through, and I started speaking about it because one day I was just fed up with not speaking about it because it's such a stigmatized topic that that you don't hear much about it in the workplace. You don't talk much about it, and trying to hide that part of my entire life story was so exhausting. And then I went to a conference, and there was a talk about burnout. And I really
clicked.
I was really impressed by the talk, by the openness. And I later asked the speaker, so what did you say to your boss about your absences, why there's a gap in your resume? Because my CV looks bad because my first bad episode happened when I was at university. So university took longer, much longer than expected. So I had this huge gap that I couldn't explain without sharing very personal things, and I didn't want to, and that led to problems. But then I asked the speaker, and he said, well, I told my boss the truth. And I was like, interesting. You can do that? That's allowed? Yeah, and I had a performance review on the very first day back at the office after the conference.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that was... again, spectacular timing. So,
stars aligning, I would say.
Yes. And you know how it is at conferences, right? You don't sleep enough, you talk the entire time, you live on caffeine and pizza. So I was super tired. I call it conference hangover.
Yeah.
I wasn't really hungover. It was just lack of sleep, sensory overload.
It's a hangover. It's like
it is. So I went into that performance review, and I was like, okay, remember how you asked me in my initial interview what went wrong at university? So here's the entire truth. Boom, truth bomb. Yeah, and
what did that have an effect? Did that?
It did. Absolutely changed my life, because from that point forward, I just didn't hold back anymore about the topic. And then at one point, I just decided to just try to tell the story as a conference talk. And I was accepted at my first ever conference. That was back in 2020. So the first conference was remote, sadly. And from then on, I caught the public speaking bug. I toured conferences, and this talk, which is the first one I ever gave, it got updated over the years, obviously. And it's still very close to my heart because, it changed my life, and it changed my relationship with my colleagues, my work. And it's super important to me. So I am super glad whenever I still get to share this story.
So I am moved a little bit when you say that you are not an expert, but in my opinion, when we deal with these things, we kind of become experts.
We kind of do, yes. And I mean, everybody is an expert in their own experience. So
Because you developed strategies and mechanisms and things, and
Exactly.
I think those are the valuable things.
Exactly.
I mean, you can get some help and get some tips,
Hmm.
professional ones
Hmm.
outside, but as well, you start to go like, this works for me with this. When I do this, it doesn't feel
Yes.
so good. And
Yes.
I think, yes, you are an expert. Yes,
Yes.
you have so much.
I can share experiences, ideas, things that helped me, things that didn't help so much. And I mean, a professional therapist just does similar things. They suggest things for you, but you have to find out what works for you personally.
It's a lot like I'm gonna put an analogy with general medicine, where you
Hmm.
get and like, okay, for your what you're experiencing, your problem, illness, whatever it
Hmm.
is. There's this brand, there's this flavor, there's this other
Hmm.
one, and you try one, then the other, and
Exactly.
sometimes one will fit better for you than the others, and they are just like, okay, there are these options. This one works better for you,
Hmm.
and let's keep going. And I think that is really important that we are mindful of that.
Hmm.
It's not like one solution for this illness,
Yes.
no. And especially with mental situations,
Hmm.
it's a wild world with that,
Hmm.
where, yeah, not everything works. And I am very curious of some of these learnings. First, on your presenter experience,
Hmm.
because you say you jumped right away with this topic and started,
Hmm.
and you have been polishing it.
Hmm.
On one hand, what are your learnings as a presenter, as a speaker in general, that you will tell people? These recommendations, this pill, that other pill.
Well, the most important learning for me was that I actually enjoy public speaking. I would never have guessed that because I used to be so shy and so anxious. And
You don't look like at all.
well, I've
Lots of working.
lots of working, lots of soul searching, lots of positive reinforcement. Um, and what I learned is that the audience is always on your side. I have yet to experience an unkind audience. I really don't want to, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen because the audience has already invested their time when they come to this talk. So they obviously want to see you succeed. And so they cheer for you. They are helpful. They are willing to forgive mistakes. It's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking about trying this, do it. It's really good. And the audience is the best.
And I think it's one of those things. Once you do it, there's a high probability that
Mhm.
you're gonna you end up liking it. It's
Yes.
wonderful.
My original plan was do it once, get it over with, never do it again. That failed
And here we are,
spectacularly.
several presentations later, and still
Yes.
rocking. I want to go back. We're gonna be jumping a little bit here, back and forth, but why do you think it was like, on one hand, you thinking that you could not open up and bring mental situations to the office, and what do you think is changing for now?
Well,
Do you think it was forbidden originally, or
no,
that
not
there was any
forbidden, not at
problem,
all.
or
But the
not
topic,
forbidden? Probably not the right word, but a
but
taboo.
it's just a taboo topic. Not only at work. You can still see it in the way people phrase it, like how people say, "You should." Have you thought about speaking to someone instead of saying, "Have you tried therapy?"
Yeah.
Or my dad still refers to my therapist as my doctor. She isn't a doctor. She isn't a doctor of medicine. She's a psychologist.
May have a PhD, but just psychologist. It's a
Yes.
different.
So the word in German is more specific. She's not
An
an
Arzt.
Ärztin.
Uh-huh.
She's a therapist. That's a difference. So there's always euphemisms and ways to skirt around the topic, and there's shame about it.
Yeah.
I used to be so ashamed about my brain not working properly. I used to get angry about myself.
Oh.
I did not accept it as just a part of my life. And the more I spoke about it, the more I realized that I share this experience with so many people. So many people have been through tough times. And the other thing we all share is this idea that's dark and shameful. Some people even see mental illness as something evil.
Yeah.
Like how they call people who do,
I don't know, an arson or like
yeah,
something that.
they call them psychopaths.
Or
And
psychopath.
often they
or,
are. And
yeah.
they are just
Are you a psycho?
people
No,
who-
I just have some situation. But
Yeah.
call me whatever you want. But as long as you know what I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
experiencing, and that's very interesting because when you open up or you, because sometimes we have this phenomena where I'm the only one in the world that is happening this to, and
Exactly.
the other one, everyone is looking at me and they know that I'm blinking unevenly and acting funny. But no, when you start to open up, and I think that you're bringing something really valuable. Open up, speak, and talk. Like raise your hand if any of you, and you always see so many hands unexpectedly.
Yes.
So many hands. And have you had like these situations where?
A lot. Especially when I did this talk, there are always people who approach me after the talk and say that it resonated and they felt like their experiences were quite similar, and they were at one point or another in their story, either they had just experienced something and weren't ready to speak about it, or they had had this phase where they hadn't spoken, but now they were more open about the topic. And it's very often the people you wouldn't expect it to have experienced something like that. When I tell people, they often go, "But you're such a sunshine. You're such a happy-go-lucky kind of person." And
So was Robin Williams.
so was Robin Williams, yeah.
And yeah, it's something that many people do not know, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a coping mechanism. It's like how you
Yes.
walk through it.
You cannot see mental illness. And that's also one of the reasons that some people don't believe you when you talk about it. Like how people who have executive disorder are seen as lazy. And it's not laziness, it's just you want to do it. You really, really, really want to get it done, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's
understanding those disorders as well. I think it's important. And personally, I don't think that there's enough PR done around the general audience population knowing what could be. Because, yeah, there's this disorder, the flavor that, the color that, and blah, 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 blah. Where, and I know also of, there's that disorder. I do that thing. And it's not like a warning sign. It's more like know how you are, know what you have, know what you deal with, because it's not wrong, it's not bad. That's something that is really important. Because don't be ashamed of having any of those situations. It's like I like a little bit like new terms are coming to not to be as I don't know, despective of some of these terms, neurodivergences, and some of these things that make it more attainable, or you can face it easier, right?
sometimes labels do help, right? Because I remember so well the day when my first therapist ever used the term depression for the first time with me. And before that, I thought I was going crazy. And then I learned I'm not going crazy. I'm just depressed.
Depressed,
it has a name, and that means people have bothered to give it a name. So that means it's very common. There are other people out there like me. I'm not completely alone. I'm not completely crazy. It's just something that happens to people.
We're getting some weird action happening here in the room. And if you are, if you see us acting up weirdly, I think the Halloween theme is going on because we
I was
hear
thinking that it was
chains.
the chains of the ghosts.
1 2 2 check 1 2 2
Do. Who
I
is that?
think someone is playing with our microphones in the room. So if you can hear that, don't pay attention to the voices.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. It's yeah. I was like, oh no, the voices are back. What's going on here? But let's keep moving. Yeah, sadly, we were so deep in a serious talk, and what happened? But no, going back, I love that you provide this perspective because it's something. Yeah, I do therapy as well, and my coping way is making it funny.
Me too.
And sometimes, like, uh, I have a meeting with my shrink. It's like, don't call it shrink. It says like, no,
Yeah.
but it's funny. I like the term or anything. I say it in Spanish, la loquera, and things like that. Crazy people, doctor. But when you add some of those terms, or when you do it the other way, whatever works best for you, I think
Yes.
it's what is valuable because using funny or kind of bad names in a funny way, don't be despective. That's the thing. If you can cope, but if it's too aggressive for you, the term, use whatever makes you
Yes.
feel okay with it and whatever you're going through.
And if that term is a euphemism, that's okay too.
Yeah.
You have to find out what works for you, what feels right for you, and whatever feels right for you, everybody else has to just accept when dealing with you. That doesn't mean your way of speaking about it, your way of coping with it applies to others, but you do you.
Yeah, really, really important. And in those ways, what do you think it's an interesting change, or what should people be doing in the office or in the work environment to make this more visible, to make it more, bring awareness or help people opening up? What would you recommend to do?
What I always recommend is showing your own humanness. Humanity is the word. Second language, sorry.
No, but I like your term better because your humanity, some humanness. You're a human being.
You're
We
a
are
human.
all
Humans come in all shapes and flavors and
packages and
packages, and brains are weird, funny, squishy things that do weird, funny, squishy things. So just show a willingness to accept that these things happen, that people are different, people experience the world differently, and go ahead.
yeah.
Show people that you are human, especially in a leadership position.
Oh wow, yeah. In leadership position,
Yes.
because I think it goes both ways. Sometimes leadership, like, oh, you don't show any weakness, any differentness, or however you want to say. But in that, you're also closing up to like, oh my God, I don't want to go and tell the perfect boss that I'm this or I have that. Goes both ways, and yeah, I know of many managers. I met them and worked with them that I'm sure that there's something going on there, but they don't open up. And I think that's an interesting one. As a manager, please open up, make it safe to people to feel like, yeah, and even if you don't feel like the manager doesn't have anything and it's
Hello,
fine.
1 2
Uh, yeah. So now we know where the voices came from. Yeah, there were some testing going on here. This stage is going to be used in a moment for the panels, and yeah, thank you. Sure. um, and I think as well with I like having this and saying like, will you add these ones? ADD, I have this, and little OCD and blah, uh, so that your coworkers know you, so that it's not seriously. This is a personal take. I don't think that you should have a mask at the office and be a different one elsewhere.
Yeah.
There are some actions that you have to be professional, blah blah blah. You're not gonna put your feet on the table without socks in the office, but be open, be yourself. I think that's really important.
Yes.
And Sophie, now that we are a little bit ramping down the talk, for the people and people with special tester minds, do you think there are any interesting things or quirks that a tester should pay attention if they have any situations going on, different ones?
I think we as testers have a tendency to be perfectionists,
Yeah.
to be very critical. And that is also true for ourselves. We try to do everything perfectly. We see every little mistake that we make because we're so highly tuned to
Filtering up situations,
Exactly.
differences.
So I think testers should learn to be kind and patient with themselves to avoid having that kind of déformation professionnelle, where you
Yeah.
just lose perspective of what is good enough.
Yeah, because you are good enough. Tester friends, everyone's good enough. It's interesting because, yeah, when I think of a tester, there's definitely a profile and personality and probably the mindset. Many, and as an example, neurodivergence in development and programming. Oh my God. In QA, we have some, and I think it had some OCD, some like hyper detail attention,
Yes.
and it can go on yourself. I love that perspective, and don't be too hard on yourself. If people in general are hard on themselves, testers I think can be brutal with themselves. I have seen some attitudes, and what do you know of any sources? Have you studied books, blogs, magazines, or things that you can recommend people to, or therapy? Just
Yeah, therapy, speaking to people, and I mean speaking to people not in the sense of speaking to a therapist. That is the first point, and the second point is just speaking to your loved ones, speaking to people who are near and dear to you or who you spend a lot of time with. That's the most important resource for me. I have read some amazing books about imposter syndrome.
oh. Any title at the top of
Yes,
your head?
one is called The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women.
Okay.
I forgot the author's name, but it's really
You can
good.
search it up, and
It's really good. And the other one is called The Imposter Cure, and both helped me very, very much with overcoming, or not overcoming, let's be real here, with dealing with that kind of brain weasel.
brain whistle. I like that
I
term.
like that term too. I landed one day and it was perfect.
Really good. So, therapists, not only if you have a situation, I think everyone should go to therapy. That the benefits. Keep doing it. You never know. You're not aware. Your ego, super ego, super ego. I don't know what was. I don't remember what were the classifications. What is going on inside? What people see outside? What a professional may see in you? How they could help you? You coping up with yourself. Not coping up. That sounds.
Yeah.
But going
Understanding
through.
yourself.
Yeah, and not putting you in a painful position. That's the most important, I would say. Check the books, those references. Sophie, can people reach out to you and
Yes.
get in touch?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, Mastodon.
Oh, wow.
Insta, but that's basically trusting pictures.
Yeah, that might be an interesting one. Any others?
I think that's it.
Okay. No TikTok, thank God. Yeah.
I'm too old for TikTok.
Yeah, no, wait, I just cannot.
Boring old millennial.
So if you want to get in touch and ask some questions, follow up, or maybe even share your story, because I think those also open up, share it. Yeah, we can keep some space for you if you need to. Uh, Look at Sophie, get in touch, add her. I think the contact might be, is it here, down here? Yeah, it's down here. Check out the description, add her on LinkedIn, follow up. And Sophie, any closing words?
Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you for
really fun
coming.
talking to you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's great because yeah, even as I am a proponent opening up, it helped me open up a little bit more. Yeah, there are some things going on here if you haven't noticed. So Sophie, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank
Dankeschön.
you everyone for listening. And I'd be very happy to see you tomorrow evening at the keynote, or in your case, probably not see you, but to know that you're there.
Yeah. Tune in if you like it. I'm sure that you're going to like it. Leave some words in the platform and her LinkedIn. And I think for now, we're going to wrap up. Das ist alles. Dankeschön.
Danke dir.
Es war angenehm. Angenehm war? Ja? Okay. Und Leute, vielleicht ich nicht mehr Deutsch, ja? Nicht wahr? Yeah, no more German. And everybody, stay tuned because we are going to be doing more adventures today. The interviews finish up for now, but because we are moving on to the panels, get ready because we are going to start on the automation phase of panel with Chris Loader. And after that, performance testing panel. Here, some good goofballs and amigos are going to be talking about performance. And after that, AI. Stay tuned. We're going to have the walk, the passport at the end of the day. So we'll see you in a moment. Sophie again, Dankeschön.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Oh, muy bien. And till the next adventure. Take care
Super.
and see you around. Adios. Oder auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye bye.